This is the CNC Geekcast, the podcast where two guys with speech impediments talk about movies. I'm Joseph Collins.
And I'm Paul Combs.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about one of the best anime films of all time, and Paul's, or one of his favorite anime films, Spirited Away, from legendary director Miyazaki. We're going to be talking about why Paul loves it so much, what makes this film so great, and the director's legend. So stay tuned!
Well, I'm just going to get right into it. One thing I love about this movie is the music. Like, this movie has a lot of quiet scenes. For example, when Sen, or Chihiro, is sitting on the balcony eating the rice ball, and she's watching the ocean, she's watching the sea, and the music takes the time to linger, and the music feels appropriate. The music feels like it's allowing you to take it in.
Yeah, I remember watching an interview, I think it was George Lucas, or documentary, one on 2001 Space Odyssey. And he said that the thing that makes 2001 Space Odyssey so great is that it's a visual adventure. That each shot allows you just to, you're supposed to sit and take it all in, admire what's happening. And I feel like when it comes to those moments, it's the exact same thing. Because the adventure is sometimes, there's a lot to take in when it comes to the adventure. And that's the thing I like about Miyazaki and all his other films. He allows you to sit down and just take in the environment. It makes you feel like you're actually there, and I enjoy it so much.
I do too, and just the amount of detail that goes into every frame. He doesn't take any cheap ways out. He doesn't take any shortcuts. Even in the scenes with the soot balls, each of those is hand-drawn.
Yeah, I also liked that how when they moved, it sounded like a broom coming across the floor.
Yeah, the sound editing, everything about this movie is fantastic. And the plot too. Like, the plot is kind of simple once you break it down into its base elements. Chihiro just wants to rescue her parents. They stumble upon this place. They made some very bad decisions. They had consequences for those. They stumbled upon that food. You know that phrase, if something seems too good to be true?
Exactly, yeah, it was too good to be true.
Yeah, it was too good to be true.
Because afterwards they started acting like pigs, and then they turned into pigs.
Yeah, it was, and then Chihiro ends up having to walk in the spiritual bathhouse for the spirits in order to try to rescue them. There's the witch who's the owner, the manager, whatever you want to call her. There's all these fantastical characters, and she starts off just wanting to rescue her parents. Chihiro does, but then she gets invested in the bathhouse. She gets invested in this universe
and the people around and the characters around. And that's the thing I like about this movie, too, is, like you said when we were having a conversation, there was not that many actually true villains. This is their everyday life for the spirits.
Well, it's not just this film I like that about. This is all of Miyazaki's work. Thinking about any of his films, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, it doesn't have a lot of traditional villains.
No, it doesn't. It has good characters, bad characters, but in Howl's Moving Castle, the bad character got her powers stripped away because she was a witch too, and she just became naive and just pretty much became harmless at the end of the film.
Exactly. Like, even the characters that are bad, you still just see the propensity for good. Like, even in Spirited Away, like we're talking about, the witch who's over the bathhouse, Yubaba, you see her sister, Zeniba, who's the good character. You see what Yubaba could be, and you see how she is with her son. Yeah. Like, you see what she's capable of. It's layered, just like the movie. Because this movie is remarkably layered.
No, yeah, there's so many themes attached to it, and there's so many elements, and it has a great mixture of sorrow and joy. And that's the thing I like about this anime film, because a lot of traditional animation have those funny moments. You have joke after joke after joke, and then you have one sad moment that you're supposed to be sad and you feel bad, or I feel bad about laughing when those sad moments come. In this film, it's so well paced out and well spread out, the film. So you have funny parts, but then you have sad parts, and they all work so well together.
Well, I think the most important thing about this film, not just the pace, and the pace is incredibly important. And just thinking about the film, there are no quote-unquote jokes. There are some funny moments, there are some funny things, but it feels natural. It doesn't feel like that was put in there specifically to make you laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
That illustrates what I love about a lot of Miyazaki's films, and a lot of, I don't want to say just Miyazaki films, like even Pixar films, even Laika films. Like, y'all know how I feel about Laika. They don't treat the audience like they're morons.
Yes.
That's by far, in my mind, the most important thing when it comes to children's films. Because this film is a children's film. It's rated PG. Yeah, it has some dark elements, like when the no-face goes crazy.
Oh, yeah, that scene.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of dark. It may be a little advanced for small children, but it still put it in there. It didn't shield them from it. It didn't treat them like they're morons. It treated them like they're people deserving of good storytelling.
Yeah, unlike the Emoji movies or the first two Smurf movies.
Exactly. Those writers and directors basically act like they can just throw bright colors of loud sounds and fart jokes at the audience.
Yeah, well,
the kids will be satisfied.
Yeah, well, that's what the audience. Well, that's what they seem like. That's what the board of directors want. We want to make a movie, add these elements, and the director's like, okay, this is junk, this is junk, this is junk, but we're getting paid, so let's just do it. It'll be over the next couple months, and then that's it. And we are left with a.
I know
movie.
if I was a director, I probably wouldn't turn it down. Like, the Emoji movie would be the worst thing I've ever done, but I would be getting paid, so I'd be like, okay, I'll do it, whatever.
Well, that's really one of my things. It feels that way. I don't want to say that's what's happening, because I don't know. But it feels that way, but for me, it's like if I had a job to do a movie, I would like to say, okay, let's do the best job we know how. But I can understand, or maybe they just don't get the most talented people to do it. I don't know.
Yeah. But as we're saying, it's just important because kids deserve good storytelling. This movie tells a fantastic story inspired by Japanese mythology. Because a lot of the spirits you see are representations of actual spirits. It's awesome.
Definitely is, and I love the characters because you have another one, a boy by the name of Haku, that pretty much starts just continues the adventure because when the parents turned into pigs, of course she was scared. She came across a bathhouse, and then Haku comes out and just starts defending her because she's a human and tells her that in order to stay alive and not be turned to a pig, you gotta work for Baba Waba. Oh, I think that's the
name.
Ubaba, yeah. So, and that's really the thing I love about, like I said, this movie, like we said, the pacing is so great because it just flows so well.
And that's also a question you have throughout the movie. It's like, why did Haku help her? Mm-hmm. Like, he's a spirit too. He has no obligation because all the other spirits in this movie are very ambivalent towards humans. The spirits come to the boathouse to kind of get away. The same reason anybody has a spa day, to get away, to relax. Yeah. They don't want humans in there messing up their relaxation time.
Yeah, and that's another thing about this movie is that, like you said, it's very layered, but it throws a lot of things at you, but it doesn't explain all of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same reason I like Mad Max Fury Road. Mm-hmm. I know that's about as far away from Spirited Away as you could possibly get.
Maybe, except for the white dress.
But it puts you in this universe. Mm-hmm. And you're able to figure things out. It doesn't have unnecessary exposition.
Okay.
It's like, okay, this is the universe you're inhabiting. This is the universe in which we're going to tell you a story. So have fun.
I agree with that. It introduces these characters and they say, hey, this is a thing in this universe. What's the backstory? It doesn't matter. And that's the thing. I mean, and you get so caught up in the story and get so invested. You want to know what happens next, that all these small details, they fade away. And even though that you may have wanted to know, it doesn't really matter in order to understand the story as a whole.
It doesn't, but that reveal at the end, when you figure out how Haku and Chihiro or Sen knew each other, that is a fantastic moment.
It is. I agree with that.
And it is beautifully animated.
Yeah, the animation's top-notch.
But that scene I'm talking about, though, I think it's far and away the best. Because she's flying through the sky on Haku in his dragon form. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, his scales come off.
Well, she discovers that Yuababa, in order to work, you have to sign your name away. Mm-hmm. And the way that she keeps you at the bathhouse is she actually quite literally takes your name. And we find out that if you don't remember your name, you're never going to get it back. So Haku forgot his name. And then when Sen, whose original name was Chihiro, found out who he was named after a river spirit. He was a river spirit, basically.
He was literally a river spirit.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. He found out, and the minute that he found out his name, he was freed from the spell.
Again, it's so beautifully animated. I can't stop gushing over the animation of this film, because we was talking about it today. Like, a lot of movies don't hold up well when you watch them. Like, you still love the movies, like The Matrix from 1999.
Or The Mummy.
The Mummy from 1999. Like, you watch them and you know they're good movies. But you're like, okay, this effect, you have to set that aside. This movie will be beautiful 1,000 years from now, assuming they still have Blu-rays. I don't know.
No, I don't know. This is your download.
I don't know what movies will be like 1,000 years from now.
Virtual reality.
But this movie will still be beautiful. Assuming we haven't killed ourselves in nuclear war, but that's kind of beside the point.
Yeah, let's have a hopeful future, shall we?
Yeah.
Not a Mad Max Fury Road future. That would be terrible.
It just comes down to how Miyazaki approached storytelling, too. Because this film is directly inspired by some people he knew. He went on vacation with one of his friends, and one of his friends had a 10-year-old daughter. And after he was retired at this point, I know Miyazaki probably retired like 5 times.
every movie release, yeah. Oh, this is so fantastic. I'm gonna leave it here. This is so great. I can't top this. Oh, look, I topped myself. I gotta leave now. I topped myself.
But I don't think it comes down to that.
No,
I think it comes down to just him like, okay, I want to be done with this. Like, okay, it's time for me to retire. Time to spend time with my family. Then he's like, no. I just want to keep making movies, and
well, I'm sorry he keeps on getting inspired.
I'm appreciative of it. Like, I hope he lives to 200 years old and makes movies the entire time he's alive. Because I enjoy his approach to storytelling. Because you know an interesting thing about this movie?
What?
This movie did not have a script.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, this movie, Miyazaki does everything himself. So he oversees the animation, he oversees the storyboards, he oversees everything else. So he starts drawing storyboards.
Oh, really?
And he allows everything to come naturally, come organically.
So that he had a basically he had an outline.
Yeah, he had an idea of what he wanted to do. He had an idea. He was like, I wanted to make movies specifically for young girls. That was actually his goal in this. He's like, I wanted to capture the 10-year-old girl the best I could. And it succeeds. He did such a good job bringing her to life, bringing all the characters to life, because even the supporting characters in this movie are fantastic, like Lynn.
No, I really do enjoy Lynn. He's a very tenacious character.
Tenacious?
Tenacious character. But I love her work ethic, but I also love how in one moment she said, I'm going to leave this place one time. And she's a spirit too, and she says she's going to leave, and it just goes to show that she's a dreamer too, just like everybody else.
Yeah, she's a dreamer. She's wanting to find out more to existence. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, she's a very small character, but again, she's still so layered. Because she, as of everyone in the bathhouse, they don't like humans a whole lot, as we talked about.
Yeah, there was one scene where she actually was given Sin, and she's like, I don't want her. And they just grew a friendship, and I really enjoyed that.
It grew a friendship, and it seems natural, it seems organic. Mm-hmm. And not just Lan, though, I love that, because when the movie first starts, Sin or Chihiro is only interested in
saving her parents.
She doesn't care about the politics. She doesn't care about the bathhouse, but she gets invested. And they also get invested in her, because at the first of the movie, they don't care about her. They're like, we don't want this human in here. She stinks. She smells like Joseph.
Boo.
I thought that was funny, whatever. but by the end of the movie, when she's able to be freed, the entire bathhouse cheers. It erupts.
Yeah, at the same time, there was this, another interesting scene where this big, muddy pile of stench is coming toward the bathhouse.
Actually, they call it a stink spirit, because they think it's just, I guess smells have spirits too.
Yeah, or spirits have smells.
I don't entirely know.
No, this is what we're talking about when it sees like that. It has a lot of questions, but doesn't really answer all of them. So it's okay. Just enjoy the film. But that was interesting because Lin and Sin was cleaning out one of the biggest baths they had, and they reserved for all the really nasty ones. And here comes the stink one, and no one wants him around. But they're like, okay, Yuga Baba is like, she pays money, he's a customer, let's accept him, do the best we can. And once he gets into the bath, Sin was noticed that it has like something was stuck in the side. So everybody pulled it out, and they pulled out all this trash.
Well, it was actually the river spirit.
Yeah.
It was the spirit of the river. Again, that scene is directly inspired by Miyazaki, because Miyazaki had helped with a river cleanup before. And during the river cleanup, he found a bicycle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he and his friends and the people he was working with tied the rope around the bicycle handle, pulled it out. Note, that's exactly how Sin or Chihiro pulled it out and cleaned up the river spirit in the movie.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And as a reward, the river spirit gave her like a food or something? Medicine. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was kind of a medicine, kind of a food.
Yeah.
And so Sin's first thought is, hey, I could use this to rescue my parents.
But like you said, she got so invested into it because we're going back to it. No Face, another character that she met, kind of just grown attached to her at first.
Well, it grown attached because she had let it in. Because they're in the bathhouse, they have the windows, and she had saw it outside in the rain. And she was like, hey, come on in. She assumed it was a spirit needing a bath. Mm. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
I guess No Face grew an attachment to her, wanted to be friends, and then at some point start eating people.
Well, I kind of read an interesting theory about that, though.
Mm-hmm.
The reason No-Face initially liked Chihiro is because of how genuine she was. She didn't ask anything in return. He was lonely, and she was like, okay, come in, be with us.
Yeah, she was kind.
She was kind-hearted, she was genuine. Whereas the frog that we meet, the frog is the first person to get eaten, is greedy, is kind of an awful person.
Okay.
I don't know if you could describe a frog as an awful person, but I just did.
No, well, it's an animated film. It's allowed to.
Yeah. And when the frog is coming in after the river spirit left, there's all this gold, and the frog is greedy. The frog is...
Wants more.
The frog is not satisfied. So the spirit's like, okay, here you go.
That starts creating gold with his hand.
Yeah. And the frog just wants more and more. And he's eaten because of his own temptation, because of his own greed. The No-Face doesn't have a traditional personality. Hence the reason it's called a No-Face. It takes on the personality of the people it's around, the atmosphere. Hence the reason after it eats the frog spirit, that it becomes vicious, it becomes greedy. It becomes a very representation of the frog.
That's an interesting theory, and I didn't think about it like that. But we also had that Sin also said that being in the bathhouse kind of make No-Face crazy. But again...
Well, again, it made him crazy because of the way everybody, as soon as they saw he could make gold, as soon as they didn't care about the No-Face, they just cared about what he could do for them. So he just fed off of that. It was like an awful feedback loop.
But the thing is, one of the things I love about this film is how, yes, Sin got invested into this universe. Well, she got this medicine or this thing that would break her parents' spell, turn them out of being pigs and into being humans again. What happens is that she took this and fed No-Face, and No-Face turned back into his original form.
Yeah.
And also at this later on in the movie, Haku, who's a spirit, who's a dragon, got a seal from Zeobob.
He had stolen a seal from Zeniba.
And got really injured on his way back and started bleeding. And she gave him this medicine, which was the last of it. So her parents cannot be turned back now at this point.
Yeah.
And she did that because she got invested in these people. And she sacrificed the ability to save her parents for people that she now are calling friends.
Exactly. They went from strangers to acquaintances to friends, and everything happened so naturally.
And this is the thing I love about movies like this. You, the audience, go on this adventure, you see what these characters are going through, and you grow attached to these characters just like she does. Because Yubabe, you think to yourself, well, she's a mean person, but really she's like, yes, she's mean, but she's not a villain.
Yeah, she's not a villain. She does what she does to maintain control. It's her bathhouse. She wants to be in control. Yeah, she has some awful ways of doing it, but you can understand it. She's not a quote-unquote villain. There is no defeat in the villain.
No, that's another thing I like about this film. It's not a black and white thing. It's just an adventure.
That's all it is an adventure. It is perfect. Because the movie kind of shows, again, with Yubaba and Zeniba, that everyone has the good side and kind of a bad side. Even with the No-Face. Because the No-Face, when she leaves him with Zeniba, or Granny as she calls her, Zeniba, he's peaceful, he's docile, he's perfect.
Yeah, and I love how Yubaba's baby is in this one. Well, the baby is mean too. Really, really selfish and mean and self-centered. And then Jambari comes in after this dragon spirit to get her seal back. Oh, they Sin's like her own spirit over there. And turns the baby, this big giant baby, into a mouse. And turns a parrot or bird into a fly. And that's just, when that happens, it's like, what they do is just a bit adorable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's kind of awful, but it's also cute and funny.
It is. That's the thing about these films, that these people are going through a lot of bad stuff. Could you just imagine turning into a pig?
But also what I love about it, though, is that joke later in the movie. When Zeniba's like, well, the curse wore off. You could turn back if you wanted to. It was like, nope.
Again, I don't understand why. I guess they just enjoyed being a mouse.
Well, I guess they enjoyed being away from Yubaba. That's what I took that to mean, was like...
I don't want to go back.
No, not right now. No, thank you.
I'm having too much fun here. I mean, we're having a great grand adventure. And that's another thing.
Well, there is a character I forgot to mention.
Okay.
Is the Boiler Man.
Oh, yes, him. The spider dude.
Yeah, well, first off, the character design is incredible. Because he's a mini-armed Boiler Man. He's like almost a literal monster with a heart of gold.
Yeah, well...
He's the first one that puts his neck out for Sin or Chihiro. And then we see him grow attached to her and her to him.
That's the thing. The beginning of the movie was about Chihiro basically not wanting to move to a new place, was She had a bouquet of flowers that were dying, and all these bad things happening. They're not bad things happening, but she had to go to a new school, and she was really upset. And for some reason, this adventure goes on, and she realizes, it's not as bad as you could be going through worse.
That's what I love too, because it's such a great character arc for her. I know I've said I love a lot. I know I've said that. I just do love almost everything about this movie.
Is there anything you don't like?
No.
No. Okay, That's great. Now, do you have a favorite scene or favorite moment?
Just the train ride.
I enjoy that one too.
Just because it's serene. They're all sitting there waiting. It's a
great moment. I love I loved about the music too, because it's a great moment in the film where you have all these great things happening, all these small little adventures happening and events. You, the audience member, is allowed to sit down and just take in everything you just witnessed and just enjoy the moment. And I love it.
Well, also the themes of this movie. I mean, they're obvious, but it's layered. Like about manners. This movie, again, reinforces how appropriate manners are. Because Chihiro at the beginning is a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
She's spoiled. Only cares about herself.
And she screams a lot about her parents to stop doing this stuff, stop eating or stop doing this. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go here. Come back. I'm upset. And of course, the movie talks about this, and I think Yubaba talks about that. It's like, your parents are spoiled. They were greedy. They were pigs, and they got what they deserve. And
she's like, I should turn you into a piglet.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to have mercy on you instead, because you asked for a job, I'll let you do it. And she earns her spot in the bathhouse. And that's the thing I like about it. I mean, even Yubaba was like, okay, good job on that. But still, it's like, she's so selfish, but she gives praise where praise is due.
Exactly. You see the growth. The movie tells you that hard work is important, too. It's obvious, but it's there.
The director does a great job of just getting his ideas across and telling a great story, and is able to do it within 2 hours. And a lot of children, and that's the thing I like about his film, is it's 2 hours long, and most children's film is like, an hour and a half, maybe an hour 45?
Again, it treats the kids with respect. It's like, okay, you're gonna get invested in the story, and you're not gonna want to get up.
Yeah, I think Star Wars is over 2 hours film, close to 2 hours. So Star Wars, the films were like that, so... this is the many things I love. I think we covered everything, didn't we? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I just want to have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this your favorite Miyazaki film?
No, it's not. I think right now on that list is Howl's Moving Castle.
Why do you put Howl's Moving Castle above this?
I like the idea of a portable house. Like having a house that goes from countryside to countryside and it moves. I just also like the story too. I mean, you have a woman who's turned into an old woman and she has to deal with that. But on the way learns a lot of good lessons. And I mean, she got turned into an old woman because of circumstances, because of a mean witch. And she just has to deal with it. And in the end, finds someone that she falls in love with. Again, goes on this great adventure with people. And I don't know, I just love everything altogether. I love the idea of the prince is missing, and so you have these two warring nations. And I love the idea of that Howl is a wizard who's turning into a beast every time he goes and fights, and could stay that way forever, which gives, weight to it. And just love Howl's Moving Castle in general.
No, it's fine. Spirited Away is mine, though I guess it's kind of biased anyway. This is one of the first movies that I saw that really taught me what animation was capable of, because I saw this at like 16 or 17.
Okay, alright. No, this came out in 2002, did it?
Actually, I was 19 when I saw this, because it would be impossible to be 16, but whatever. Math, I'm stupid.
No, it was 16, it'd be about 17, because 16 was 2001.
Yeah.
But no, well, at the same time, I feel like, for me, it's, you had when we were growing up, you had all those famous kids movies, like Secret of Nim, and the Disney movies. So we already knew what animations could do, but I think this movie really showed...
It raises the bar.
It does raise the bar. And that's the thing I like about anime in general, is that you have a cartoon and you have animation, but you have adult themes. An animation film would target to adults without it being crude humor. How it being a comedy that's, like Archer or, Mick and Morty. It's nothing against them, but they have a specific...
Yeah, they have a specific audience.
Yeah.
This film is literally for all ages.
Yeah.
I know in 20 years from now, I'll still be popping this film in the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be showing it to my kids.
Because good storytelling transcends generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the things about Star Wars. Star Wars is taking all these elements from myths and legends and passing them down to the next generation. And this is the same thing. It's taking Japanese mythology, Japanese legends, and passing it down to the next generation. And like you said, it transcends. Good storytelling does transcend. I mean, you have a lot of stories out there like King Arthur or Lord of the Rings that are still read to this day. And Harry Potter, whose books will probably be read, decades on down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's all anyone wants is to create something that stands the test of time. Mm-hmm. And I definitely think Spirited Away is going to continue to stand the test of time.
No, it's a fantastic film. But, unfortunately, our time has ended.
It has, unfortunately.
It has. But it was fun, wasn't it?
I always have fun recording.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But before we go, is there any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'm going to showcase another show within the Podtron network. There's 5 of us. I'm going to continue talking about Podtron because we're not going away. Make sure you check out these other shows. This one we're talking about a little show called VHS Bandits. They watch old movies on VHS and just kind of discuss and review them.
Old movies like bad movies or old movies in general?
Just old movies in general. And I enjoy it. I grew up with some awful movies.
Yes, the earnest movies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I tried to rewatch those as an adult.
And?
That was a remarkably bad idea.
You realize, what was I thinking?
Yeah, we've talked a lot on this episode about, good kids' movies. Mm-hmm. The earnest movies were not good kids' movies.
They're not good movies in general.
Exactly.
I can't believe I did not see it when I was growing up.
But make sure you check out the VHS Bandits and the other shows within the Podtron network, podtron.wordpress.com, facebook.com/Podtron, twitter.com/Podtron.
Man, you got everything covered, haven't you?
Well, that's me and these other things, hence the reason we're called Podtron Network.
This is true. But anyway, it's time to go.
It is.
As always, I'm Joseph Collins.
And I'm Paul Combs.
And you've been listening to the CNC Geekcast.